Tweaking the production line. But yeah, I know it's not a technical term, but actually it's not even a textbook, but the reality, that's what it is. Look in the job variability. Say 10 minutes per job, but there's some variability in the processing time. Can you sit down, in the example that we talked about, the one that's in the book, can you sit down on the 6, 10, 6, 10, 6 aspect of it? Can you average it out so each job does 7.6 minutes? You can't crank out a lot of different things, but say 10 minutes per job, if there's some variability in the processing time, can you get it down lower? Can you shift some of the aspects of this job can do multiple jobs through cross training? Look on the aspect of how you can go through and tweak it. Sometimes you need to just sit down there in a chair and watch how it's being done. Sometimes you go talk to your employees. Sometimes you got to sit down there and go figure out maybe I need to spend more money and get a machine that does two functions rather than just the one. Maybe station one can do two jobs and I can sit down and save time and maybe even eliminate a job and move that worker to another thing and help streamline my aspects of what I'm doing over here. Cross training. You got to talk to yourself, talk to the employees, look at it, and sometimes get out of the office and go take a look. Sometimes line utilization is a big thing. On two-skill cross-training, it really decreases the average time between releases of a new finished product or really increases the line uh, throughput overall on every aspect of it. Cross-training is a big deal because of the fact you're going to do a couple things. Number one, you will probably pick up an efficiency aspect of it to reduce your overall production time. But the other part is you're going to really improve the overall quality and the zeal of your employees. And yes, I did use that word zeal. Sometimes people like the work. Uh, we cranked out, we did 100 things. Once upon a time, I picked apples during my college years and I sat down there. I was so proud of myself. And so I looked at the different things and I paid attention to what was going on. And in the process, I sat down and I broke a record. I had this other guys, they showed up the next day and they started picking apples too, the same thing. They picked more apples than I did. So by the time it was all done, I had this own competition. They didn't realize it was a competition. That's how pathetic I was compared to them, but they had skills. They've been doing it for years. Sometimes those things, the tweaking and that cross training, watching people do work themselves, sometimes the work itself is a super high motivator. Camper Implements. But Camper is actually it's a company, 1975 based, a family business that does footwear. They're out there. They embarked on a journey to improve their supply chain, and they had really good, impressive results. You'll have the results in your textbook. The current camper supply chain flows really comes from the suppliers to Europe and Asia, and they have manufacturing taking place in Europe, China, and Vietnam. They have 3 different continents. They serve 4 different channels from retail, e-commerce, wholesale distributors. They have 700 new designs per season. Per season. I tell you, it's per season. So with all the different footwear designs they have, okay, you can say that they have a lot of soul. You'll catch that eventually. I know. If you don't, maybe you think I'm a heel. All right. Anyway, so by the time you're all done, 700 new designs on a regular basis. It depends what you're looking for. They have it, but every single season they're cranking out something new, doing small tweaks. The overall production process is 4 to 5 months after a 6-month design process. So really, you have to pay attention. It's almost a year out. They start designing something, and 10 months later, it's coming off the production line ready for sale. Can they reduce that? Because you have a worldwide supply chain. Can you sit down and make changes on that? Really, by every single SKU, in other words, the unit for each individual design, it can be in 2 places and at the same time create a chain structure that provides the same benefits as producing in all plants. Can you do that? If the SKU is made now in 2 factories, okay, does it increase your overall flexibility? Would it be better to consider more flexibility in the process? On the push-pull case, if you're looking at that many designs, they're out there, they're hustling nonstop. In Camper's case, segmentation is done by products, by sellers, medium and low sellers. They have a classification, then each one fits there. On your best sellers, you want to have wide distribution to keep on cranking that out on a regular basis. They have a large amount of inventory available for those places that it's selling. In addition, pay attention to the lead time for various products and supplies. If you have a loser in the market, one of your low sellers, if it's maybe you want to get rid of it. Or maybe you want to sit down there and mark it up higher, just depends on what you want to do, because in a case like this, you're looking at turnover of your inventory. Pay attention to the lead time for various products and supplies. Analyze the trade-offs between the current aspect of it, in the case of camper, advanced payment and leftovers, and increase service levels from 85% to 95%. If you're hitting that 95% efficiency, you're going to clear off that excess stock of your inventory during peak sales period. So pay attention to all those different aspects of it. Lead time. Look at the lead time. If it was before the lead time, you had 4.5. If you reduce it to 2.5, you can compete better with your fast fashion suppliers that are cranking things out over on the different Chinese companies that are cranking things out, but they crank them out and then they drop the line in 4 or 5 months. You'll have the fast fashion, but it disappears fast too. So your leftovers, okay, your low sellers, 7%, can you get rid of your low sellers overall? Pay attention to the delivery time, all those different things. But if you tweak that production line, look at your flexibility, look at your setup, and how much time does it take? Can you reduce 10 months from concept to actually putting the shoes in boxes for sale? And then will cross-training help you overall produce more goods or a higher quality goods or with less costs and labor? Just depends how you're set up. That's involved. We call it tweaking the production line. If you can pull this off, you too can be a miracle worker at your company, improve your overall bottom line and profitability, and maybe give yourself a nice fat bonus check, a couple $1 million in the process. Yeah, who knows? It can always dream. All right. Take care.